Well, what a difference does it make going into the draft knowing you already addressed one of your major needs? This allowed Chris Ballard to change his philosophy in the draft as well. I don't know if you guys noticed, the draft was a little different compared to how Chris Ballard and how it usually feels. Usually it feels we're scrambling. Okay, it's third round, we still have this major need. Okay, it's fifth round, we still have this major need. Or, first round, oh boy, we didn't address this need. What are we going to do? No, the way Chris Ballard's free agency panned out and the way it helped the draft shape out the way it did is you address these major needs in free agency. You address cornerback with Shavarius Ward. You address two secondary positions, Shavarius Ward at cornerback and Cam Bynum at safety. Two really good signings, two players that played towards the top of their positions, toward the best of the best last year. So two really good signings, two awesome really signed, and then those are the major needs, and tight end was a major need as well. So we kind of knew tight end was going to be in play, whether it was a first or Chris Ballard traded back a couple of spots and still drafted someone else there. I actually thought Colson Loveland was going to be their guy. The way Shane Steichen was talking, Shane Steichen was saying, we want kind of like a vertical threat guy, and Tyler Warren is that too, but Colson Loveland has a little bit higher upside in the receiving game, in my opinion. But Tyler Warren, good blocker. He's a little bit better of a blocker right now. Colson Loveland can get up to that point, but and the resigning of Molly Cox, he's more of a blocker, more of a possession type of a guy. I thought, okay, Colson Loveland is definitely their guy at 14. I typically like to make my own opinions and inform my own thoughts. I don't like to go with the rest of the people or what everyone else is saying. I like to form my own thoughts on what I see and my opinions. I don't like to go with the consensus all the time. Sometimes the consensus is right. And the media typically does have some good ideas and they are right. A lot of times they're not. But Tyler Warren is a great pick, obviously. I mean, Tyler Warren, awesome draft pick. I mean, he's going to fill a much needed void in that tight end room. I mean, Molly Cox, like I said, he's a blocker possession type of a guy. You have Kylan Granson left. He was a bit of an issue. Bye-bye to him. I like Will Mallory. Maybe Jelani Woods could stay healthy, and then we have Jelani Woods, Tyler Warren, Molly Cox. This is a huge tight end room. Drew Ogletree is another guy we could possibly keep. This tight end room is massive. Not all the guys, I think Drew Ogletree still has some upside. Jelani Woods still has some upside. Figures this would be the year, say we draft Tyler Warren, figures this would be the year that Jelani Woods will stay healthy. But regardless, everything happens for a reason. I don't like to look back too much. What happens, happens. The more you look back, the more you kind of think about, okay, this could have been that. But it's already done. It's over with. There's no sense in going back and doing that all the time. I mean, sometimes in sports it's fun to look back, and kind of that's what sports is. Sometimes, kind of trying to learn off of patterns, but sometimes you just got to know when enough is enough, not really look back. That is what it is. That happened. And move on. Tyler Warren, 6'6", 257 pounds. I mean, and I got a lot of my draft information. I watched a little bit of these guys, but I can't say I've fully gotten all my draft information myself. I use Draft Buzz. I kind of put together, summary from each of their reports, and I'm going to give my spin and why this player, is a great fit for the Colts. And, I know a little bit about, Tyler Warren, of course. DJ Giddens, I know a little bit about. Really like DJ Giddens. Other than that, I don't really know too much. I know that the Ohio State edge rusher, JT, he's got really high upside, really, really athletic. But yeah, back to our number one pick. I mean, I'm kind of all over here a little bit, but I mean, Tyler Warren, awesome. Obviously, Penn State tight end from Penn State, former quarterback turned tight end. He's very athletic. He's played almost like every position there. Like he has snapped the ball. I'm not sure if you ever seen the play where he snapped the ball to the quarterback and then went out and caught a touchdown pass, a long touchdown pass with that. It wasn't just like a little short route. It was a big play. I'm sure you've seen the one-handed grab. I don't remember who that was against. I think that was early in the season, maybe against Kent or West Virginia. I think it was earlier in the season, possibly. I could be wrong. Could be later. It might have been the Notre Dame game. I could be wrong. I don't know, but I don't fully remember. But that one-handed grab, I know you know what I'm talking about. You've seen it. He makes big plays. He's short-handed. He could line up. He could line up in line. He could line up the slot receiver. He's lined up at running back in college. I mean, he could run. He could do everywhere. And Shane Steichen kind of joked about, heck, we might have played that guy on defense. But he's that versatile. He's very smart. Penn State, very good college program. He's been there a couple years. He hasn't just but a really good program. They like to run the ball a lot. So, obviously his run blocking is good. That's one of his big big pros, but really Tyler Warren, we couldn't have asked for a better fit. I mean, yeah, Colson Love maybe he does have a little more receiving upside, but I mean, that doesn't mean he's going to be better. That doesn't really mean he's better. But Tyler Warren, I mean, if you look at his his receiving ability, 67 catches for 808 yards in 2024. He has a Big Ten record, 224 receiving yards versus USC. Michael Pittman actually made a comment about this. Michael Pittman was like, "Well, that guy put up 224 on USC, my team. His former college." And yeah, Pittman was like, "Yeah, that's a dude. He's a monster." And I think, there's been a couple of Colts tight ends that, T.Y. Hilton even said, posted on X, dog. A lot of really nothing but good things to hear about this guy. Even if you watch some of the interviews, I mean, really down to earth, chill guy. Just wants to put his head down and work and do his job, and I love that. We don't need loudness, we don't need cockiness. A little bit is okay here and there, sprinkle it in, but not too much. You don't want too much. But like I said, versatility, played tight end, fullback, even pass and rush in the red zone situations. Like I said, strong blocking presence, areas to improve. His route running and separation ability, Draft Buzz kind of says that that's an area to improve for him. But, I mean, he's very sure-handed. You don't have to worry about him dropping the ball too much. My comparison was kind of like, I mean, a lot of people compare him to Dallas Clark. He moves like Dallas Clark. If you see him run, he really moves like Dallas Clark and looks like Dallas Clark. Wears 44 figures. But I'm actually kind of comparing him. I mean, I'm not comparing him to him, but I'm saying that Tyler Warren is like a Jack Doyle on steroids. You know what I mean? He's really good all around, better receiver, better blocker, I'd say. We kind of, when Jack Doyle left, there was a bit of a difference. It was hard to find that tight end that makes that difference. Really good run blocking tight ends that have good instincts really make a huge difference in the run game. And we are going to see that with Tyler Warren. We are. Even though Mully Cox is a good run blocking tight end, Tyler Warren, he's better. He's more seasoned. Even though he hasn't played in the NFL as long, he has a much more upside, as we know. JT, the edge rusher from Ohio State, I can't say his last name. I'm gonna say JT. You guys know what I'm talking about. Size and athleticism. He's 6'5", 269 pounds. Elite straight line speed. Very good against the run. Strong gap control. His pass rush. I think one thing I've kind of seen. I've watched a couple of things on him. Like I said, I'm not crazy. I don't know these guys really well, but not everyone. But I know some of these guys pretty good, and I know JT a little bit. You look at JT. I mean, it feels like he maybe is gonna. Might not be the best pass rusher. He got production at Ohio State, 12.5 sacks, 22 tackles for loss, 61 tackles, and that was all in his senior year. That's production. He's gotten better every single year. He has a high floor. He could be he has Pro Bowl upside, but he's got to improve that pass rush. The pass rush maybe could be inconsistent. We'll see. But regardless, if you know how to get to the quarterback, you know how to get pressure, typically that translates, and typically that doesn't go away. But when you get to the NFL, there are a couple things you got to enhance. You got to kind of work on a little bit of technical things, technique, and mechanics. And maybe I think one of his knocks was his bend. I don't think he had a crazy bend. I could be wrong. But he has a little bit of developing to do. But he can be an awesome edge rusher for us. I mean, we already have a couple of really strong guys. Latu, Kwity Paye. Samson Ebukam might be coming back there. He might be a surprise cut. Drafting this guy, or Kwity Paye can be a surprise cut. I think this guy JT, this edge from Ohio State, I think he is actually a threat to Kwity Paye's job because this guy JT really really damn good against the run. That's one of his big things. One of his big pros. He's really good against the run, and he has really high upside in pass rushing as well. And I'd say he might be as good as Kwity Paye, or maybe even a little better coming in the NFL with pass rushing already. So he's a big threat to Kwity Paye. Kwity Paye may be stepping back into more of a backup role, or even though he was kind of already. We kind of know Kwity Paye is really good against the run, but pass rush wise, he doesn't really get it done. He's a little bit inconsistent, but. Yeah, he's a high floor guy. I'm excited for him. This is kind of just like, hey, looking at Kwity Paye, man, we're going to get you some competition. Samson Ebukam, how are you going to come back from the injury? Latu, he played last year. See how he does in his sophomore year. I'm excited for this edge room. I'm excited, Adam sorry for my stuttering. It's really bad. It's stuttering at the worst times where it sounds the worst too. It sounds ridiculous. Like JD, come on now. So yeah, this is where you kind of already see the difference in the drafting philosophy, and when you don't have to, fill in so many major needs that need to be, filled in urgently. I mean, you filled them in free agency, so now you kind of add more competition to a room that hasn't been bad, but it hasn't been what you want it to be for what you've invested into it. I mean, Latu, I think he's gonna be very good. Just give him another year or two. I think he could maybe break out, maybe not this year, but I think he could be a really strong edge presence for us this year. Lots of pressure. Kwity Paye, he's been a bit of a disappointment, like I was talking about. Samson Ebukam, he's getting a little older, coming off the Achilles tear. So, I mean, you don't have to rely, or you don't have so many question marks to be like, okay, let's add another guy. We had to pick. We address some of these other needs in free agency, so we could afford to do this. This is why you kind of address some needs in free agency, so you don't have to scramble draft time, and then you don't have to count on first, day two guys stepping in and being good like we did with Julius Brents. We counted on Julius Brents and Jalen Jones a couple years ago. Even this past year, we kind of tried counting on them young players to step up and figure it out quick. It just doesn't happen. And then, by product, our secondary was worse in the NFL, and it was worse by far. It wasn't even close. And some people were defending our secondary like, how? It was horrible. You can't. I mean, there was no secondary to be found. Look what Drew Lock did to us with the Giants. He had like 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. What was it? 350, 400 plus yards. That's all you need to know right there. The Giants scored more points in one game than they did all season long combined. Just about. I mean, it was ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, he has a lot of presence, man. Here we go. Starting again. There's a lot of upside. There's a lot to be excited about with JT, the edge rusher from Ohio State. So then we move on to Justin Walley, cornerback from Minnesota. 5'10", 190 pounds. He ran a 4.40 40-yard dash, so he's pretty fast. They're saying his coverage, he has good instincts in man and zone, but shorter frame limits him outside. So when I was reading his report and kind of looking into him a little bit, actually, he seemed like he had like he was kind of balanced, and that's kind of what we like with Lou. With Lou Anarumo, we want these balanced guys that can play zone, that can play man, because Lou likes to throw both in there. He doesn't lean to one side or the other. He likes to mix it up. He likes to change the game plan and make the game plan for the team that they're playing that week. They don't like to keep to be stubborn and play the same thing every week. What we saw Gus Bradley, even Matt Eberflus, he tailors a game plan to every team that they play, which is awesome. But you also need players that can play man and zone. They need to be versatile, and this is a good start. Justin Walley is a cornerback, Minnesota. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of turnovers. There's not too much going on there. He's tough. He's tough physically. He's very tough. He makes his presence known, and he does a very good job at covering some of the bigger guys. He did a good job at covering some of the bigger guys in college. The NFL, it's a whole different story. Some of the larger guys you might really have a difficult time with, but I see this pick trying to gear up to move on from Kenny Moore. Kenny Moore is awesome. He's getting older. You don't know how much longer he's going to be good in the slot. Maybe we'll get another good 2, 3, 4+ years out of Kenny Moore, but it's unlikely. So drafting Justin Walley, there's no need to start him right away. Maybe he could contribute to special teams in the meantime, or just be a rotational piece. Let him learn. Let him sit behind Kenny, contribute in special teams. I mean, this is beautiful. You get to sit players and have them learn a little bit, not just throw them into the fire. We talk about throwing quarterbacks into the fire all the time. I think it's just important for some other positions like cornerbacks, like, edge rushers, or anyone really. If you give them a chance to learn a little bit, but just throwing them right out there, especially if they're the second, third round pick when they're not even ready to be a cornerback too, or they're not really ready to take on a starting role or starting, snap times or snap counts. It's just, why force them out there? Sometimes you give them a chance to learn, give them a chance to watch the game a little bit and develop. You'd be surprised. And cornerbacks typically take longer to develop. Now, there's really nothing better than playing the game and getting better, but you don't want to have to force them out there and them have to be your quarterback one or your cornerback 1 or 2 or even your starting slot guy right away, because that's just as important. You have some of the twitchiest guys in the league that play in the slot. I mean, Amon-Ra is one of them. The slot is becoming more and more important as we see Cooper DeJean over in Philly. Look at the impact that he makes. Look at Brian Branch, the way the impact he makes over in Detroit. I mean, these slot cornerbacks are becoming more and more important as time goes on. Very important. So Justin Wally, good pick here. I mean, I think a lot of people were saying that he was picked a little high. But I'm sure Chris Ballard is probably seen like a high upside guy that could learn for a year or two and not be thrown right in there into the fire. If he has a year to learn, doesn't have to be forced in there. He could be the successor to Kenny Moore. Next, Jalen Travis. He's an offensive tackle from Princeton. This guy, man, I mean, 6'8", 339 pounds. He is massive, and he has a massive wingspan, great length. Quick flashes. It feels like his pad level, well, from what Draft Buzz says, from their report, it says that his pad level is a little bit of a question mark sometimes. His handwork, maybe he grabs more than he's punching, then keeping them away from his body, from his pads, but. I mean, he's got high upside. This is, once again, you drafted a tackle. Maybe you kick this guy into the guard. I don't know. But Jalen Travis, I mean, you don't have to start him right away. Once again, another theme. You're preparing for the future. Braden Smith, and even if Braden Smith doesn't turn out right away, or if he doesn't come back right, you could put Jalen Travis in there, halfway through the season and say, hey, man, okay, you have had half a season to learn. Go in there and show us what you got, because Braden Smith having back problems and all the issues he's going through, hope he's doing okay, all that stuff going on with him. You do have to realize, he is, he's not getting really old, but, he's not young anymore. He is having back issues and all that kind of stuff. So you want to be ready. You need to be ready. I think this is the last year of his contract, so we're getting ready to move on from him and put Jalen Travis in there and see how that works out. I think Jalen Travis is another high upside guy, and he's very smart. He's good. He's quick to diagnose stunts. He knows what he's looking at. He's very, he's twitchy in that aspect. Sometimes, even though players may not be fast like running wise, but sometimes when you're watching players play, you just know, like, they're fast mentally. Like, the game is slow for them, because they have such a high IQ. They have such a high football intelligence. The game, like, slows down for them. Like, in the moment, it's slow for them. But, they're very, like, they're not running fast, but they're playing fast, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. So a good pick there. DJ Giddens, running back from Kansas State. I've heard some really good things about this guy too. I saw some good things. It feels like everyone in this, in this draft class, they don't have major, like, things that cannot be fixed. Like, it feels like everyone has things that could be worked on and they could be developed into a decent football player. So DJ Giddens, he's 6 foot flat, 212 pounds. He ran a 4.43 4-yard dash, so he's by no means is he is slow. He's pretty big. That's pretty big for a running back, running a 4.43. Great vision, good elusiveness. He's really good, one cut back kind of guy. It seems like he's going to come out and he's going to be a really damn good backup for Jonathan Taylor, to relieve Jonathan Taylor. Now, I believe one of his things was he's not really too refined in the receiving game type of thing, but he has basic knowledge and can do basic routes, receiving, blocking. Yeah, and blocking was one of those things, but like I always like to say, I mean, look at who these running backs have to block. It's not very easy. They have to block huge guys. Rushing ability, great vision and elusiveness. We talked about that. So look at, once again, another player that just sees the field very cleanly, like high IQ. He's very smart. He knows what he's looking at. The game plays slow for him, but he plays fast, but that's good. It's good. And then he's going to learn behind Jonathan Taylor, really good offensive line, really good head coach, and Shane Steichen coaching staff is phenomenal. Instinctive runner, great ball security. That's another thing. Fumbles are not an issue for him. He barely fumbled in college. I think he fumbled once or twice, not a lot at all. So that's a big thing, because it feels like once a running back has a fumbling issue, it just feels like it doesn't get fixed. It just feels like it sticks with them, unfortunately. But in his projection, immediate committee running back, potential future starter. Obviously, John Taylor's there, but I mean, John Taylor, once he's done with this contract, maybe DJ Giddens will be, a good enough back to take over for the meantime. You never know. Even if John Taylor gets hurt, how is he going to be stepping up? He might be all right. All right, next pick, Riley Leonard. I believe this was our sixth round pick, our first sixth round pick. Quarterback at a Duke/Notre Dame. 6'4", 216 pounds. He's your prototypical size for a quarterback. He ran a 4.52 40-yard dash. He's kind of like a dual threat kind of a guy. He could, he can move around. He could, his pocket movement's good. Deep ball accuracy is good. Football IQ. He played at Notre Dame. Not an easy system to play in. He's not going to be like a high upside guy. He's not going to be a future starter. He's probably going to be like a backup. He's probably going to develop into a decent backup. Could he possibly push Anthony Richardson to QB3? Maybe. That's just how bad Anthony Richardson is. I'm not saying Riley Leonard is bad. It's just, he's young coming into the league. You don't know what you're going to get from him fully. But this is a quarterback that can be a good backup. I expect him to be a backup in the future. Maybe Daniel Jones being the starter, Riley Leonard being the backup, and Anthony Richardson is going to be on the roster. Riley Leonard, realistically speaking, will probably be QB3. But you never know what'll happen. We've seen crazy things happen in the NFL where players drafted really high. A couple years later, they're just cut and gone. A lot of people still want to give Anthony Richardson the chance. I'm not going through that. I've been through it a million times already this offseason. I don't get the hype. I don't get it. There's not much there with him. I think he should be gone by now, but it is what it is. Riley Leonard, quarterback, potential backup of the future. Backup for the short term. Because it feels like when you draft a young quarterback, 6th or 7th round, draft him to be a backup, like we did Sam Ehlinger. Draft him, he's your backup or QB3 for a couple years. You move on, and you draft another one in the 6th or 7th round a couple years later, and he's your backup or whatever. Tim Smith, defensive line from Alabama. Not really your huge kind of defensive tackle. He's 6'4", 302 pounds. He's really good against the run, high motor. I see this as being a potential Grover Stewart replacement. That's what he kind of reminded me of when I was reading his report, when I was reading Draft Buzz's report, what they had to say about him. Maybe he can be a potential successor to Grover Stewart. He's not as big, though, but he's, it takes double teams. He's good against double teams. It seems like he forced a lot of double teams, they were saying, from Bama. And, he's playing, a lot of these players, they play some good competition too, especially, Tyler Warren, JT, the edge rusher we got. And then this kid from Bama, and then Wisconsin, the kid we got last, that we're going to talk about next. Tim Smith, good against the run, high motor. He's going to do a very good job against, like I said, he's going to kind of garner double teams. Could be good against the run. Not really too much of a pass rush type of guy because, he has like no sack production in college at all. But, I think, maybe in the beginning he's going to be rotational. Maybe that's all he'll ever be. But this seems like a guy that's going to be like maybe a Grover Stewart light version at the beginning of his career. Maybe he could step into being more of a full-time starter, because Grover Stewart's getting older. Buckner's getting older. So maybe Tim Smith is our future one tech. That's what Grover Stewart is. Last guy we got here, Hunter Wohler, safety, Wisconsin. Not too much on this guy. He's 6'2", 218 pounds. He's good agility. His good agility numbers. Really good against the run. Really good tackler. So that's big. Once again, this is one of those guys that, he's really good at stopping the run. He's really good at tackling, getting off blocks. He's probably going to be a special teamer. You probably draft him to be a special teamer early on, because remember we lost, I think, Grant Stewart it was. I think that's who we lost to Detroit. So that's what this guy is going to come in and probably do immediately. We need a special teams and rotational safety. Maybe a potential starter down the road. Don't know. But solid zone coverage. He's going to struggle against elite speed, they're saying. But, I mean, this is a safety that could step in and be, that strong safety in the box kind of a guy that, we're not going to have with Julian Blackmon leaving. Like I said, we're going to have guys that are going to be in there for different downs, for different things at times. Lou likes to do a lot of different things, but that is our draft class, man. And I really like this draft class. I really do. I like the idea. I like the philosophy. I like what Chris Ballard was thinking this year. It really helped filling some of those needs in free agency. Signing Shavarius Ward, signing Cam Bynum, going out and making some good signings and not having to scramble draft time, not having to force anything, not having to throw anyone out there in the fire. So it's some good stuff from Chris Ballard this offseason. I'm really happy with the way he conducted himself. He's really under pressure, really under fire. I think the seat is warming up a little bit. And you know what, man? I'm willing to give Chris Ballard a bit of a longer leash right now. I want to see how he continues to do this. He's under pressure. He's under fire, and it seems like he's doing his best job under pressure, under fire, but maybe this changes his philosophy and the way he does things in the future. Because tell me, man, tell me that this draft does not feel so much smoother and just better. And it was crazy. We almost went through this draft without a trade back from Chris Ballard. That would have been what? Didn't trade back in the first, second, third. I believe it was in the fourth we moved back, and we got the extra sixth, or it was the fifth. Don't remember exactly which one we traded back, but we got an extra sixth. Don't remember which round we traded back in, though. I think it was the fifth or the fourth, but got that extra pick, picked up a potential backup quarterback for a little while, potential successor to Grover Stewart, or just a rotational piece at that. That's fine. Special teamer, running back to, help lessen load on Jonathan Taylor, potential future successor to Braden Smith as he's having back problems, he's having issues, a potential successor to Kenny Moore in the slot, an edge rusher that is high upside but not going to be thrown in the fire because you have other guys going to pressure Kwity Paye to get better. Samson Ebukam going to, kind of pressure him a little bit too, coming off the Achilles tear. How is he going to do? How is he going to fare? Not too sure. Tyler Warren, great pickup. I feel like the Colts nailed this draft, really. Am I going to go A+? No. I'm going to go A. I think Chris Ballard hit it home. He got ready for the future. He addressed a need, at the right time, early in the draft. The biggest need, early in the draft. It worked out perfectly. A lot of people didn't even think Tyler Warren was going to be there at 14. I didn't think he was going to be there myself. I thought it was going to be Colson Loveland, as I said earlier in the video. I thought that's who it was going to be. But, hey. Good draft. I'm feeling really good about this year. Riley Leonard, he's not really a future, but I don't think Anthony Richardson is a future. I think Daniel Jones is going to surprise a lot of people this year. Be ready. He's going to win training camp. He's going to be that QB1, man. There's no way Anthony Richardson starts over Daniel Jones. Anthony Richardson is not battle hardened. He's saying he's tired, taking himself out when he's tired. Look at what Daniel Jones has been through over in New York. No offensive line. This is the best situation Daniel Jones has ever had. You think Daniel Jones is going to lose a job to Anthony Richardson? Not a chance. Not a chance. Very confident that Daniel Jones wins this job. And, heck, maybe Anthony Richardson gets cut. Maybe he's that surprise cut. Just like, wow, all right, gone. Get out of here. Riley Leonard's a backup. But I don't think so because you're not really going to have that third quarterback to be ready to step in there. Unless there's another one on the roster, which I don't think there is or could be. I don't think there is. I think it's Richardson, Jones, and Leonard. But, yeah, I think that's going to be it for me. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I enjoyed this video going through some of the draft prospects. I like this draft. A+. No, not A+. A for me. Very good draft. Future's looking bright. If Daniel Jones can be competent, I think this is a playoff team. Honestly, we have good weapons. Josh Downs, Pittman. Taylor out of the backfield, Tyler Warren, Alec Pierce. If Jelani Woods could stay healthy, there's another huge body. It goes on and on and on. Offensive line should be fine. Guard and center. In the beginning of the season, offensive line may be a little slow considering we have a new center, new guard. Not sure how Braden Smith is going to be. The offensive line could have a rough year. I could see the offense line possibly having a rough year, but you know what? It's not going to be horrible. But it might not be a top 5 Colts offense line this year. Maybe top half, top 10, top 12. I don't see top 5. I'll be a little bit surprised, but I'll be also pleasantly surprised. But that's all you got from me. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, put the post notification bell on. We're building something great here. Want to become a part of the team? Apply. There's a community post up that, or I could post a link in the description. It'll be there. Join the team. Join the channel. Join the audience. Appreciate you guys. It's JDW Sports Talk Show, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.